training in Wildwood. Come out Thursday, September 12th, for a morning training session with Chief John Yar of the Lakewood Fire Department. Chief Yar is the chief of department of the fastest growing and third largest municipality in the state of New Jersey. Come listen to how he is leading his dedicated members of the Lakewood Fire Department as they continually transition their department to meet the growing needs of the town. Scan the QR code on your screen or find them on social media and get registered today. The New Jersey Deputy and Battalion Chiefs Association will be hosting their annual fire service seminar on Saturday, October 5th at the New Jersey City University. This year's speakers include Chief Vincent Dunn, Chief Aaron Heller, and Chief Anthony Avillo, among many other fine firematic minds. So scan the QR code on your screen or find them on social media and get your tickets today. Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome back to NJ Fire Guys for run number 27 with Chief Constance Zappella, NJ Fire Gal. Chief Constance Zappella began her fire service career with the Jersey City Fire Department when she was appointed in 2003, becoming the department's first female firefighter. Upon graduation from Proby School, Connie was assigned to Engine 9, where she spent her first 5 years prior to transferring to Squad Company 4. After 8 years as a firefighter in the 4th Battalion, Zappella promoted to captain in 2011 and became part of the command staff of Engine Company 17. Connie stayed at 17 Engine until 2017, when she again promoted to Battalion Chief. Battalion Chief Zappella's first assignment was the training division, where she became a level 2 fire instructor and oversaw several recruit classes. During this time, Chief Zappella decided to join one of those classes and become an EMT. Chief Zappella was instrumental in creating the department's Field Training Officer program with the assistance of Lou Pepe and Chief Tony Della Rosa, which the Field Training Officer position helps bring the training division up on compliance and increases the agency's ISO rating. Chief Zappella filled the FTO position until assuming command of the 2nd Battalion on A Group. In November of 2022, Chief Zappella promoted again to Deputy Chief and was again assigned as the department's Chief of Training. Since becoming the Chief of Training, Zappella has made it a priority to ensure compliance with state and federal regulations and mandates such as IMS and Firefighter 2 standards. Beyond being the first female career female deputy fire chief in the Garden State, Zappella is a loving and attentive mother to Erica, spelled Merica. A licensed and practicing New Jersey real estate agent, Connie holds 2 degrees in economics and sociology and is a New Jersey licensed fire official. Without further interruption, Chief Constance Zappella. Chief, your screen's black. There you are. Hey, Chief, how are you?
Hey, Nick, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you? Glad to have you finally. I've been working on this for a while now.
Yes, you have. Thank you for that introduction.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough for coming on, taking the time. So tell us about yourself. Where'd you grow up?
Are we losing here? Is it me?
I think it's you.
I see. It's me, huh?
Yeah. All right, you're good right now.
Okay.
All right, so
I apologize. Can you repeat that?
No problem. Tell us about where you grew up. Were you always a Jersey City girl, or?
Yep. I was born and raised in Jersey City. Not very exciting. I mean,
All right.
Jersey City Public School.
What made you come to the fire service? What did you do before the fire service?
I, like I said, Jersey City Public School, public high school. I did very well in high school. I went to St. Peter's College on a full academic scholarship. Didn't know what I was going to do though when I graduated high school. I was interning at Merrill Lynch at the time, getting a degree in economics, and still unsure exactly what I wanted to do. I was very active, athletic. I was swimming, I was running track. And my uncle, who was very influential in my life, had given me the application for the fire exam. And he said, take this, it's very much you. And at the time, the test was a physical competitive test. And they actually set up the course down the block from St. Peter's College at the Armory, and they let you run through it. And I went down there. I was actually dorming at St. Peter's College. Believe it or not, like I said, I was there on full academic scholarship, so they paid for my dorm, and why not? It was an apartment outside of home. I was one of 5 kids, and it was great to have my own space. And I would go down there after, my normal workout and run the course, and I was very competitive, and I was a blonde chick everybody wanted to beat. So, I was very modest. I enjoyed going down there and being competitive. And
all right. I like it.
Yeah, it was fun.
While double majoring.
Well, I was double majoring, but the results of the test came out. This was probably in 2000, probably 99, the results came out.
Okay. And then the waiting game started.
Back then they weren't hiring. It was totally different. The results came out early 2000 because I graduated college in 2000. But at the time, like I said, being on a full academic scholarship and not exactly what my mother wanted me to do when I grew up, being a firefighter, I was only had just started my 3rd year of college. I wasn't exactly going to quit college to become a firefighter and disappoint my mother. So real quick, I took 30 credits to finish out my last year of college and get out because everybody was like, hurry up, they're going to hire you. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So it was kind of, classes all day and night to get out and literally graduate a year early, thinking I'm going to get hired right away.
Yeah.
And like you said, the waiting game began. Not only did I work at Merrill Lynch, quit Merrill Lynch because I couldn't stand it. Like, my uncle said, take this is totally you. Well, he knew me well. Sitting at a desk in corporate world was not me. I literally quit in August of 2001 with a great paying job right out of college to go waitress at Arthur's Steakhouse in Hoboken. Watched the towers come down in September and had no regrets because I was working over at the World Trade Center and quit with no plan except I'm getting hired to be a firefighter. So, I had no regrets. And I didn't get hired until 2003, actually. I was waitressing and substitute teaching as I kept waiting to become a firefighter.
All right. Now you said you were one of 5 siblings. Where were you oldest, youngest?
Second oldest.
Second oldest. Okay.
Yes.
All girls. I remember you said you have a brother.
I have one brother for 3 sisters.
Please tell me he's at least the oldest.
No, he's second youngest.
Oh, jeez. I feel his pain. I got a bunch of females in my family.
Yeah, even the dog was a female. We used to hear.
Oh, that's horrible. Horrible. That's like my grandfather. He had 6 daughters. My grandmother, a female dog, a female cat, and my great grandmother lived with them for a while. Poor guy couldn't get a break. All right, so moving along, you finally, they call you. you get the letter in the mail certifying your list and offering you the spot.
They
You know?
didn't certify. We didn't get the letter in the mail at the time. Actually,
Okay.
Jimmy Drennan came to my door, and of course, at that time, we were all waiting. They should have hired way before. The last class they had hired was in '99.
Hmm.
So 4 years later, we're all waiting, anticipating. You'd hear rumors.
Yeah.
We all live in Jersey City. We all knew each other on the list. We were all down at the Armory. Anybody back then who wanted it, you had to make an effort and
Oh,
actually
absolutely. Yeah.
to get the job. If you didn't pass that physical competitive test in a certain time, you weren't getting the job back then. So, it was the same people down there training,
Yeah.
practicing that were getting hired who came out on
Mhm.
the top of the list. At the time, I remember very clearly, I came out number 24 on the list.
Oh,
And
wow.
the phone call started. They just came to my house. So here
Yeah.
I am being on my porch. My grandmother lived across the street. She's out on her porch. Every neighbor knew I was waiting for this. They're out on their porch waiting for my letter to come. And Jimmy Drennan came pulling up in a battalion car. At the time, he was the 3rd battalion chief.
Okay.
And, here we all are, everybody out on their porches for them to deliver my letter.
Yeah. That's awesome. So at that point, were you excited? Had the excitement kind of worn off, and now all of a sudden, like, holy shit, it's happening?
I think, was I kind of excited? Yeah, it was ecstatic.
Yeah. All right. So what was the academy like?
Honestly, it was a great academy. It was all Jersey City guys down in Middletown.
Okay. I remember when they used to go down there.
Yeah, it started my career, actually. It's how I ended up where I ended up. It had a lot to do with everything. It was all guys from the group that I wound up on. We called it Camp Conlon. It had Mike Conlon ran the place. Yep. We had great guys like Jimmy Early, Walter Milne, Mike, Cannon. It was a great group of guys.
The class T-shirt. I still remember the class T-shirt with the city on the back, and it was burning. Yeah.
Correct.
And Jerry Long, torch.
Yes.
The Middletown lead instructor. Yeah.
And that's my future, because those were all the guys from Jersey City Rescue on A Group and Squad 4. And I don't know if you know the name Deputy Chief Sennett.
I know the name.
He actually retired. He retired chief of the department, but at the time he was the deputy chief on Group A.
Okay.
And the dynamics of the Jersey City Fire Department, the deputy chief runs the group. He went to those guys and said, and it was a backhanded compliment at the time, but he turned into one of my biggest mentors and almost like a father figure to me, and said, I'm going to offer to take one of the girls. I'm going to do the chief a favor. And, so which one's the better of the two, Yeah.
There was 2 females
at the time. And again, he was a backhanded compliment to the 2 of us at the time. So he was going to offer, he was going to do the chief a favor because it was such a problem. He was getting 2 girls in the job. He was going to offer to do the chief a favor and take one of them.
Now,
which one should he offer to take?
Is the other woman still on the job today, or?
Yeah, she's a great girl. She's still in the job. She's still working.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome.
But
That's great.
Chief Sennett chose me on his group, and he put me in. Back to your introduction, kind of skipped over a little. My first bid spot was Engine 9.
Oh, okay.
And the reason bidding in the Jersey City Fire Department is very hard because it's based on seniority.
Mm-hmm.
When I came on, if you remember, I said there was 4 years in between the last class.
Mm-hmm.
So I got on in a great era. It was all old timers. When I say old timers, I don't mean old men necessarily, but like old timers. They were the salty dogs.
Yeah.
They were all like Vietnam vets, and they were salty guys.
Yeah.
And they all had time on the job. So when we bid, it was very hard to get a good spot. Also, there were a lot of times I just lost you. Oh, we're back in. Okay.
Yeah, you're back.
At the time, Chief Sennett everybody thought that they were going to assign me.
I'm losing you again.
Because you're jumping in and out here.
Yeah, we
You
lost
still
you
have
again.
me?
Yeah, you're back.
Oh,
Chief Senate when you were
okay.
coming on.
Yeah. So what the rumor was, and tell the world, tell a phone, tell a fireman. The rumor was
Yeah.
going around everywhere in the firehouse was Chief Senate was going to put me up in the 3rd Battalion. And the 3rd
Okay.
Battalion, and I don't know if you know the dynamics of Jersey City. I mean, Jersey City is the best place, to become a firefighter. First of all, the only place I'd be a firefighter. We have a little
Oh,
bit of
that was my
everything.
dream. Jersey
Yeah.
City was
And
my dream.
it's only, I think, like 14,000 square miles, maybe 15,000. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I mean, we have everything. And it was my home, and it's the only place I'd ever want to be a firefighter. I'm safe there. That's my mentality as a kid growing up there. I used to run the streets through the ghetto. I mean, but I was safe there because it was my home. You know what I mean? But that's a different story. But anyway, Chief Senate, instead of putting me in the
Is,
Heights, there you go.
is that you on the car?
It looks like one of the cars we used to have. But instead of putting me up in the Heights, that's where he was going to put me, because that's where 2 of the newer firehouses with female bathrooms were, because now this is a problem. He put me down in Greenville in the 2nd Battalion. And the 2nd Battalion at the time had the 2nd Battalion chief was Battalion Chief Turpak,
All
which
right.
was his son-in-law, not to get into the politics.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, Chief Turpak, in my opinion, was one of the best battalion chiefs on the job. He was a professional. And
Absolutely.
just like they say, shit rolls downhill. Well, good guys follow good guys. So when you have a great deputy chief, you have great battalion chiefs. Under the great battalion chief, good guys follow him. So you had all great captains, and then you have great guys under him. So
Absolutely.
I was put in a great place with great firemen with a lot of experience, and it was a professional battalion. We had Chief Turpak, and every house within his battalion had a great captain. And I was strategically placed with Chief Turpak and strategically placed at Engine 13 as my first assignment. And from there, Captain Rucci was my first captain. All great guys in that house. He rotated me through that battalion. I went from Engine 13 to Engine 19 under Captain Foy, Ladder 8. Then I went over to Ladder Tower 4 with Captain Perenod and Engine 12. There you go. I got the name Spinner there when I spun that ring. It was an open cab. But all great guys. And then from there, I couldn't get a bid spot in there because, believe it or not, it's based on seniority.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And it was sad to leave there. It really was. And I spoke to Chief Turpak about that, and we discussed where I should go. And then Chief O'Reilly in the 4th Battalion and Captain Duran actually asked me to bid Engine 9.
Okay.
And the 4th Battalion was another great place to be. You either wanted to work in the 2nd or the 4th if you wanted to be in busy companies at the time with experienced firemen. And I wound up at Engine 9, and that was my favorite place to work. Still is. Yep, there you go. The happiest time I had in the fire department.
Now, we've spoken about this, but I'll bring it up again for the folks at home. I know the tradition of hose man, truck man on the Jersey City Fire Department front piece. I see this one, hose woman.
I didn't do that. So traditionally, you order your front piece. I order my front piece from Ira Rubin, 2-3. He's a legend. God rest his soul. He's passed away.
Absolutely.
And I pay for it and everything, and I get it, and it says hose woman. And at first, I was a little disappointed because it wasn't easy being a female on, an all male department, but it grew on me. And I really appreciated that Ira took it upon himself to do that. And I don't think anybody else has one like it. And, just working at Engine 9 alone, I had a lot of pride. It's the pride of the 4th Battalion. And, I really was proud to work at Engine 9 and proud to wear that.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you still have it.
Of course, I have it. I actually, when I bid Squad 4 was another place that I was proud to work. I never changed my front piece.
Really?
I worked at Squad 4 until I got promoted. Probably 3 years. I think I worked at Squad 4, 3 to 4 years, probably 3 years, maybe 4.
And you
And I
kept.
changed my front piece.
Wow. All
And that's
right.
like unheard of.
I was gonna say, how did that go over with the guys and ladies you were working with?
I was known to be, engine 9.
All right. Hey, that
Yeah,
that takes some chutzpah.
yeah.
All right. So you're at 9. You're enjoying life. What makes you want to put in for the squad?
Everything changed. Chief O'Reilly, who was the 4th Battalion in quarters, Engine 9 is a single company right in the middle of the city, which was great because if something was going to happen, we were guaranteed to be there. So I got a lot of experience there, and it was a single engine company, which was nice. I have to say, it was a cleaner house, but again, you got a lot of experience because if anything was going to happen, you were going to be there. But he got promoted to chief of department. He was gone. My captain Duran, he was another old timer. He retired. We got another great captain, Billy Raleigh, who's now, a 2nd battalion chief currently.
Okay.
He bids out and he goes to Squad 4 on a different group. Or he stayed on A group, I'm sorry. I couldn't get Squad 4 on A group. Just dynamics changed. People were leaving. Engine 9's changing. People are gone. I was taking the captain's test. I've always been on a pumper. What happens is if you get promoted, you could be placed anywhere. I don't have experience. So my thought is I like to be prepared. I don't ever want to not be prepared. What if I get placed on a truck company? If I do well, not if I do well on the captain's test. I'm going to do well on the captain's test is my mentality. I'm going to study. I'm going to do well on the captain's test. I'm not going to not. I don't want to be placed on a truck company and not have experience. But I love being on a pumper. So my thought is, you know what? I'm going to bid Squad 4. It's a pumper on steroids. It has every tool that a truck company has and then some.
Yeah, absolutely. You're learning all the equipment.
We have ground ladders. We just don't have an aerial device.
Yeah.
So you know what? That was my opportunity. And I still get to go to every working fire in the city.
Yeah.
I'm going to be busy and then some. And that's why I was able to get Squad 4 on C group, which was the only downfall because I was on A group up to that point.
Okay.
But C group, the guys were just as great. So no regrets.
All right. So you get there. Now, had you been delving into outside training, taking classes, different places? And
so as soon as I can thank Chief Turpak for that. So, people who have never met Chief Turpak, he's a very special person.
Absolutely.
Down in the kitchen, he would come down and he would just throw up thoughts at you, talk about the interior stairs, you got to take the interior stairs, or just come down with questions for you, or, just blurbs from a book, or just give you ideas to think about. Yeah. And next thing you know, you're looking up stuff, or he would be doing a class and he would come down with the literature from the class and give it to you, that, things people would go pay for. So because of him, I immediately went, even though I had a college degree, I immediately went back to NJCU and I took 2 classes a semester in fire science. And my thought behind that was I didn't have a background in building construction. I didn't have a background in fire science. So why not? Like, it was interesting. If, I wanted to learn. I constantly, that was my idea, of just bettering myself. And what I didn't realize at the time was the program at NJCU used the same books that was on the reading list for the captain's test. So it was like...
Funny how that works.
Yeah. So it forced me to read books that I remember buying, the Brannigan building construction book back when it was like this big. Mm-hmm. And then when I took the test or the class at NJCU, I remember I actually had to read the book. I bought it. I was going to read it, and I was like, yeah, right. Just like, but I actually enjoyed it when I took the class, and I remember sitting in the back of the rig, actually looking at buildings now, and it's like, wow, like, and understanding things, and I really appreciated building construction. Like, I've really started like diving into it. I'm like, this is great.
So much so that now you're selling them.
Yes, it does help. But that's when I really, really like started understanding a
Yeah.
lot when I
Uh,
started doing building construction.
And you start going to fires and noticing things and looking at things a lot differently.
And then when you start asking like your captains questions and they, look at you like you're crazy, it was even more fun.
See, I like doing that too. I got one of my old captains, and actually a former training chief of mine is in the chat tonight, and I used to do that to him all the time. But so now you're at Squad 4. You're getting into special operations training,
Mm-hmm.
more truck work because they get assigned both ways depending on how they arrive in Jersey City, right?
So squad 4, you're still first due at your normal fires in your district, but you're also the fifth pumper on every working fire in the city. And what people don't realize, you always hear about rescue. Rescue is great, and honestly, rescue they have, especially as a chief now, you rely on rescue to do everything. You really do. They have the most knowledge. You have rescue definitely are special people. They usually are the guys that normally have a background. They're the welders, they're the roofers, they're the guys that are out there normally doing things.
Mm-hmm.
They're the mechanics. But Squad 4, I like to describe them as the JV of rescue. So rescue is the varsity, Squad 4 is JV, if that makes sense. They ride out of the
No,
same house.
I get it. I
You're
got
not
it.
you're not going to see rescue operating at a special incident without Squad 4 there backing them up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
It-
anytime rescue gets a new tool, Squad 4 gets their old tool, basically.
yeah,
They train together.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's how in like we were talking before the show in the DoD system. We gotta we gotta be everything and do everything with what we got. Today you're in the ambulance. Tomorrow you're on the truck.
Squad 4. I
What's that?
wouldn't want to be on rescue personally. And that's again, it's the difference of being like a female and a male. I prefer to be on an engine company.
Okay.
Rescue as Squad 4, you still could be first due at a working fire as on the line, like an engine company.
Okay.
Rescue, they're dispatched on every working fire immediately. Every report of smoke, every report of gas. So, sometimes we'd call them the U-boat because they were always going out and turning right back if it wasn't. But Squad 4, you actually go to, as soon as it's a working fire, you're the fifth pumper. So you're going only when it's really a working fire. And, a lot of times you're operating more as an engine company.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like it.
As a female, I found it worked better for me.
All right. I like it. I like it. So now you're in the squad. You're getting. You started, like you said, you knew you wanted to promote. You knew you wanted to study. You knew you wanted to move up. Did you have like a study group, or you just buckled down and started reading, taking the classes at NJCU?
So I definitely surrounded myself with good people. And of course, who would I go to when I wanted to study? Chief Turpak. He had great people, Mike Nasta from Newark. And I met, believe it or not, started studying with now Chief of Training in Hoboken, Audra Carter. She's been one of my study partners all along. Chief of Newark currently, Dell. He was
Okay.
one of my study partners all along. And then, believe it or not, Chief O'Reilly had little study groups for us with some chiefs that are presently chiefs now. I mean, it's, start little groups and you keep them and you become good friends over the years.
Hey, there's strength in numbers in this job. Okay. Whether we're at a fire or whether we're, studying, there's
Yeah.
strength in numbers. Or St. Patrick's Day at a bar, there's strength in numbers.
And I
Uh,
have to credit definitely the guys that I worked with, the places that I worked. A lot of it has to do with experience and, you know, working in busy companies,
yeah.
hands on and doing things.
Hey, I, I'm the same way. I'm a physical learner. Reading a book, looking at a newspaper, looking
Yeah.
at a video. Show me and let me do it, and I'll learn it that much faster. Um, all right, so you study, you take the test for promotion, you get promoted in 2011, I believe it was, right?
To
To
cap
captain.
something like yeah, around yeah.
Okay. So now, were you assigned,
No,
or how does
floated
that
for
work?
a while, and it's kind of ironic. I floated. I didn't want to just bid a spot and not work where I wanted to be. So here I worked in the second and the fourth battalion, the entire mainly the fourth battalion, but I started in the second, so I wanted to stay there. I wanted to be where I was familiar. I
Okay.
enjoyed it there. I really did.
All right.
So, and I remember, starting out young and new, and my mother saying to me, I grew up in the Heights.
Okay.
Why wouldn't you want to just work up where you live? And I was like, I want to work with the guys that constantly train and go to fires. Those are the guys that I feel safer around. You constantly do things. It just becomes second nature. It's, training.
Yeah.
Training is what makes me safer.
And maybe there's more jobs in different parts of the city.
Yeah.
All right. So what were you doing before you got engine 17?
I
Where?
floated wherever
Oh, okay. So you're just filling spots.
filling spots. I would get
Okay.
assigned. So in the spot, I finally had enough seniority. The spot at 17 opens up, back on A group. I bid it, I got it, had a great young crew, worked with some great guys. We were very busy, a lot of first due fires, got lucky and, you know,
Now,
did
did I hear you were on the excuse me, on the fireboat at one point?
yes,
Okay.
yes, I was on the fireboat.
Now, what kind of special training do you guys do with that?
So at the time, we actually went to get our 100-ton license. Believe it or
Okay.
not. Yes,
So so you had to get your boat captain or boat pilot's license,
correct.
whatever because that's the
6 pack,
breaking point is the tonnage, right?
yes, our 6 pack, and then our 100-ton license.
Okay. That's awesome. Did
Yeah,
you
it was
guys
a great opportunity.
any fun stuff? Like, I mean, I don't want to
It was
like
great. I
fun.
mean, fun.
Did you catch any fires with it, or? 'Cause that's awesome.
So the reason why I really enjoyed it, I was given the opportunity. I was asked if I wanted to be on it. I wasn't going to say no. It was training again, and you know what? I love being out in the water. While we had at the time we were assigned to a trailer, and we were giving a pickup truck basically, and we were
Okay.
going again to every working fire as manpower. So it's like, come on.
That's a home run.
Yes,
And when
exactly.
it's nice out, I can get on the boat and I can drive around.
How could you go wrong?
I
Exactly.
I agree.
Well,
Um, so well, that I was going to ask if you were if the Marine unit was assigned to an engine company, but you just said you guys had a pickup truck and free
it
range
went
of the
back and
city.
while I was on it, we were assigned to a trailer down at Liberty State Park, right where
Okay.
we were docked.
Okay.
So right now it's changed and it is assigned to an engine company. But
Okay.
during the time that I was there, yeah, it was a designated unit.
That's awesome.
It was,
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm jealous.
and I was just one of captain on a group, so it wasn't just it was a good program at the time.
That's awesome. All right, so now you get assigned to 17, and how was that? Because like you look at FDNY, you look at some other big departments where there's the captain, and then there's 3 lieutenants under him or her. But in Jersey City, like a lot of cities in New Jersey, it's 4 captains across the board.
That's how we have
Uh,
it. We have 4 captains across the board.
so now, is there obviously the most senior captains in charge, but is there, oh well, I'm a captain too, my horns are just as shiny as yours, kind of,
It
or
was,
is it?
yeah, it was. You know what? I've been very fortunate. I've always worked hard. The guys that I worked with were always very good because I always pulled my own weight, and even the guys that worked for me, they were great. I was fortunate at 17 to have, it was double company, the truck captain. At the time, Captain Kroll was with me. He was an old timer. And when he retired, Chief Turpak's brother, Scott Turpak, was the truck captain. So, I mean, I always had good co captains with me and good members under me. And again, like I said, working in the second and the fourth battalion gave me the opportunity. I don't know if it was, I don't want to say by luck because unfortunately people's houses are burning down, but we did happen to have a lot of first due fires. And, especially being out, like, in the second battalion, and then even later on when I was the second battalion chief, you're far away from the deputy chief. So it takes, especially as like I left 17 and became eventually the second battalion chief, which I think was probably, you know, I wish I could have stayed there longer. My only regret is I wasn't at a battalion chief longer in the second battalion chief. It gives you a lot of opportunity to be in command for a long time. So that, kind of means you either do a really good job or you kind of really screw up fast. It's like
Yeah,
you're,
well,
it's you out there,
trial by fire.
Yeah. And either gain, you're only as good as your last fire, they say, right? So
Oh,
either gain a lot
absolutely.
of respect or you lose a lot of respect real fast.
Absolutely, 100%. But that also shows that there's faith in you, putting you in that spot. There was nobody trying. Um,
Well, we have a
trying
bidding system too, so I don't know if it's about faith or not. I was fortunate enough to, like I said, I had to wait a while to get 17 engine, and I waited a while to get the second battalion, but you know,
So when you went to the second battalion as battalion chief, how long were you there after you got out of training? Before you moved up in 22.
I wasn't there very long. I was probably only there for like 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would have preferred to stay battalion chief longer. You know, unfortunately, I took the test for deputy chief, and we got promoted fast. I have to do what's best from myself and my
Oh,
order.
of course. At the end of the day, we all want to go to fires, we all want to go to jobs, but at the end of the day, it is a business, and when it's your full-time job, you got to put food on the table.
Yeah.
Um, so back to being captain. What did how did you, when you got into the role? How did were you comfortable right away? Like, at what point were you comfortable? Um, not being like that transition from the back seat to the front seat and the responsibility. If you
No.
listen to Getting Salty, Lou Refrano refers to it as going to the beach as a fireman. Going to a fire is going to the beach as a teenager when you're single. If I want to put sunblock on, if I want to eat, I eat. But then when you're an officer, you're going to the beach with your kids. You got to worry about sunblock. You got to worry about who's got to go to the bathroom and who's in the water and who's digging a hole. And you
you're
know,
you're you're a babysitter, and
yeah.
you're responsible for other people's lives. So it's very nerve wracking, and there's a lot going on, and
So
I
now,
remember.
yeah. So, like, the question to that is, at how long were you a captain before you felt like, all right, you know what, I'm comfortable, I'm good. Like,
I don't know if it was even like a time frame where it kicked in. Like I said, it took a few fires, it took a few incidents where you finally just you're comfortable. Where you feel I just I remember, for instance, Chief. I wasn't even working on my own group. I gave a size up, and later on, a chief I respect a lot, a battalion chief. He's still been battalion chief for years. Just never wanted to take a deputy chief test. I told him the other day, he's smarter than me because
He stayed battalion.
Pete Greasy, he said to me, "You gave your size up, you pulled up," and he says, "I'm sitting at the kitchen table," and he goes, "Did she just say strike a second alarm?" And he goes, "She didn't make it work in fire," and I was like, and that's because at the other fire, I forgot to say strike a second alarm, and Chief Drennan said, "Why didn't you strike a second alarm?" And I was like, that's all I was focused on when I saw, all the fire going out the windows. It's like you forget because you're new at it. And it's just, before you would just grab the nozzle and line in. And somebody else had to worry about that kind of stuff. Now you got to give a report. You got to worry about the guys and are they grabbing the right size line? And, how long it's been burning, what kind of construction it is. And you got all these things going through your head. And it's just a lot going on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I actually have Chief Greasy coming on in a couple weeks.
Awesome guy.
You've both been very, very highly recommended. All right, so now we jumped forward. Now we jumped back. Now we'll go to battalion chief. So you move up. You get again. That's a bid spot. So you got as the junior battalion chief, you got assigned to training, or was that you bid for that spot?
So when I was pregnant as a captain.
Okay.
Yes, I was a captain. I was pregnant. I called the chief of training at the time before I even told anybody. And it was funny because, like I said, I'm on the boat. And I thought that would be great because great place to be pregnant, right? I'm not going to fires. At the time of the boat, you weren't going on every working fire. That was something they changed.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, great place because pretty safe. And then next thing I know, I'm pregnant and they literally changed it to now you're going to every working fire. And now I'm on this fire. And then next time I'm at that fire. And then it's 4 fires in a row. I'm like, God damn it. Jesus,
I can't hide this for too much longer.
Yeah. And I remember, it was just downlining into a basement fire. And I'm like, how did this happen? Yeah. But so I find out I'm pregnant and I call the chief of training at the time as a captain beforehand. And I said, Chief, confiding in you, nobody knows yet. I'm pregnant. Do you mind if I ask the chief when I tell him if I could be assigned to training? He's like, absolutely not. I'd love to have you. I said, I've gone, I got my instructor certifications. The department doesn't even know. Just letting you know I do. So at least I have credentials. So when I got promoted to battalion chief, obviously I had experience from being pregnant. Okay. During that time, I had been in training. And that's why when I got promoted to battalion chief, I had already been in training for a couple months. Okay. So that's why they assigned me to training.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were a battalion chief in training when you helped develop the FTO program.
Yes. So I'm in training. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to ask you if you could go over and explain what that program's all about and how it works.
It's great. So like I said, I'm in training and at the time it's Chief McGill and he's focused on reducing the ISO rating, which for people who don't know, it's the insurance rating. Chief Cobb was part of the ISO at the time. He was one of the evaluators, and he had discussed that 20% of the ISO rating is based on training. So I start thinking about it, and I'm like, so how can we contribute? Because at the time, Jersey City trained constantly. However, if it's not documented properly and if it's not taught by certified instructors, then it doesn't count. So we've got guys with a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, but they don't necessarily have the right credentials as far as certifications, and they're not documenting it. So it doesn't count.
Yeah.
I had developed a friendship with Lou Pepe, who was the director up at the Morris County Fire Academy. We were sending our recruits up at Morris County at the time. We had several classes going through and conversations with him, and with different things in regards to proper way to document and what is required and how to go about being compliant, because obviously they were doing things the correct way up there and documenting, and they were compliant. He gave me some advice, and I started thinking about what we were supposed to be doing and what we weren't doing, and started jotting some stuff down. And also, we weren't necessarily having a safety officer at every significant emergency event or incident, which is critical, not just on paper,
Absolutely.
but the safety of our members. I mean, that's even more, critical. And with that, I tried to put this program together also for, I have to admit, my benefit. I wanted to go back to a 24-hour shift. That, hey, why don't we have a field training officer, a field training officer who is responsible, who's certified as a level 2 instructor to oversee training, who can document it properly, but also become the safety officer at every significant emergency incident, which we needed, who
Yeah.
is, a certified safety officer, and put it together, have one on each group, and there's your field training officer. And wow, I'd be the first one, and be back on a
That
24-hour
person
group.
should be about this tall, blonde hair, shoulder length.
Well,
I think that would be a great battalion chief to assign to this program, Chief.
right, right.
Oh, by the
And
way, here you go. I
that
have
it
all
just
those shirts.
kind of took off.
I see. I see
Well,
where you're
they
going.
need these, they need to be, this, and they need that credential, and they need that credential, and and I just happen to have it, and it just kind of took off. And with that, now we developed an officer program, and we've made it so that everybody has those credentials now.
You froze up again. You there, Chief? Chief, can you hear me? Hold on just one moment while we there we go.
Sorry about that.
No problem. So you pitched the program, you got reassigned. Now you were bringing it into further current day, how it's running,
It's
how it's up
running.
and running. Still running the same way. So it's an additional battalion chief, or
There's a field training officer on every group. It's great.
and they respond as the safety officer.
The safety officer.
That's a badass position.
Correct.
It sounds like almost less paperwork than the.
No, they
deputy
have a
chief.
lot of paperwork, and they actually do a lot. They really do.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yes. We also dropped the ISO rating
Okay.
from all the way down to a 1. So
Oh wow.
not only did we, it's a big benefit for the firefighters, but the citizens of Jersey City, we saved them millions of dollars together collectively
Absolutely.
in insurance premiums. So
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
yes.
That's awesome. Um, it really is. I mean, going back to Chief Cobb and Chief Dennis O'Neill's episodes where they really delved into the ISO ratings and how that all works out for the citizens and how it's judged and rated. It really is mind-boggling. But that's got to be a great feeling to know that you were able to impact that, especially that's home to you. That's your family lives there, your siblings live there.
It was
That's
a
home to
collective
you.
effort by many people, though.
What's that? I'm sorry.
It was a collective effort by many people.
Oh, absolutely. But like to know that you were a part of impacting that, that's awesome.
Yes.
Um, so now you're in training. You decided to join one of your recruit classes to get your EMT.
Well, somebody told us that all our recruit classes had to get EMT to keep our grant money.
Okay.
It's not true, but whatever. That was so we're all going to they're all going to EMT class.
And hazmat tech, I believe, was part of that rumor too, right? At
I'm
one
not
point.
sure about that one, but yeah, that one's good to have. I mean, that's definitely good to have. And EMT too, also. But
Oh,
anyway,
absolutely.
EMT was a big burden for everybody, and at the time, it was tough. The guys, were having a hard time with it. So the reason more so why I did it was because it was hard for guys to pass,
Okay.
and we had a big failing rate. So we changed our program from one provider to another. And I decided that, you know what, I better just take the class with them to see why people were failing and to ensure that it was a good program.
Okay.
So I decided to go through the EMT program. Plus, I didn't know where it was going to go and how could we have firefighters, with EMT credentials, and we had no chief officers with it.
Yeah. Especially the chief of training.
Exactly. And since it's gone by the wayside and most of the guys refuse to continue it, which I think is silly, and I try to get them to keep, renewing it. And I've never used it, but I still renew it.
I hear you.
Work too hard to keep it, or to
Yeah,
get it.
it's a double-edged sword. It's a pain in the butt, but on the other edge, if I need it one day, it's gonna be even bigger pain.
I might want to retire someday and go somewhere and be the chief of fire and EMS somewhere. Who knows?
There you go. All right. So you're chief of training. What else? What other challenges were you able to address? What other things were you able to do as the chief of training, as battalion chief? Now, did you still answer to a deputy chief, or?
Yeah, I did. I definitely did.
Okay.
So yeah. So
I didn't know if it was like the battalion chief of training was the position at the time, and then they moved it.
no, so
Deputy
there's
chief.
a deputy chief that I
Okay.
answered to. I left there, once I got the FTO spot, which I was very thankful, to go back to the line and be back in a firehouse. And then eventually I was able to get the second battalion chief position, which is, where I ultimately wanted to be. And that was probably, like I said, I was thrilled not only to be back in the line, but to have the second battalion chief on Group A, which, if you look at it, I kind of mirrored my first battalion chief's career path. So if you look at it, Chief Turpak, when he got promoted to captain, he was captain of 17 Engine. I don't know if you ever, talked to him about it, but his first captain spot was Engine 17. And I think back then it was in the 4th Battalion, but we have new companies. So now Engine 17 is actually in the 2nd Battalion. And then Chief Turpak went to 2nd Battalion A Group. That's where he was my battalion chief. And I went on to become 2nd Battalion A Group.
Okay.
I followed exactly what he did.
Not a bad person to follow.
And that's what I'm saying.
Not a bad person to emulate.
Exactly. Another one of my mentors, and I used to say, he used to get on scene, he would talk on the radio, and it was almost like a calm feeling would just come over everyone. You knew he was there and everything was going to be okay. And I would just listen to the radio and I would try to talk like him, emulate him. And I try to, my career path, I try to emulate him as well.
That's awesome. So now, if you don't mind me asking a personal question, how was that transition as a mother? Like, I know, how it felt being a father for the first time going to a fire, the first time I got back on a fire truck, when I had a son. How was that for you?
I waited to have a child. You have to remember, I was a little older, so when I don't want to say my crazier days, but my younger days, I, I was almost probably 36ish when I had my daughter.
That's how
So
old I was when I had my son.
yeah, so I became a fireman. I was 23. I was already had a good half of my career. I'm only
Hmm.
on now 21 years. So, you know, um, I want to say my crazier days, my younger days, I didn't have
All
a
right.
child, which I
Yeah.
want to say kind
No, I got you were more, more knowledgeable, really,
yeah. I
and
already
more.
was a captain, and I already had how many children I was looking after on the fire truck.
Yeah.
You know,
Now you were looking after a whole battalion.
yeah.
Um. All right. So you're battalion chief in the second battalion. Um. What kind of troubleshooting were you doing? You know.
Second
Uh.
battalion chief is a great place to work. Like I said, you have guys that I don't want to just tell them to keep making me look good because you can't ask for better guys.
Yeah.
They're they are the firefighters of the Jersey City Fire Department, the second and the fourth battalion. I mean, Jersey City Fire Department have some of the best firefighters
Absolutely.
around, but you don't work in the second and the fourth unless you want to work.
Yeah. All right. So, so what year did the new squad company open up and Engine One come back in service? Was that were you in one, or were you a battalion chief still, or were
No,
you?
Squad
Yep.
One is fairly new.
Okay.
I think that's what you're talking about.
Yes. Yes. Squad One.
Okay.
What did I say? I'm sorry.
So Squad One, you're
Yeah.
talking about Squad One, right?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a little confusion as to what Squad One is yet still.
Okay.
Um, there really is no specialized training needed yet.
Oh,
Um,
okay. I didn't know if they were actually a secondary squad company.
not trying to, I'm not looking to insult them in any way. Um, I'm actually trying to help them to get training.
Okay.
Right now, I don't want to get myself in trouble with politics. Um, they're
Okay.
not official, so they could be gone any day.
Oh, okay.
It is a bid spot, but if I was the deputy in charge tomorrow, the citywide commander, and I had to fill the spots, I could take guys from any house and put them there on transfer.
Okay.
Well, it's not,
So
like
it's
I said,
not a part of this special ops.
yeah, we would love to say yes. And like I said, I'm not trying to insult the guys that are there because we do try to, get them training. And
Okay.
I am making a conscious effort of getting those guys as much training as I can. And they have some really great captains there right now.
Okay.
Um, but they're not officially like a specialized company yet.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
hope going forward we can make it happen. I would like to see that happen.
Absolutely. And I mean they reorganized Engine One, which was disbanded years ago.
And we have a new engine company.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yes, I would like to see. We need more engine companies, more specialized companies. I mean, look at Jersey City. It's got, I think, over probably close to 130 high rises right now, and
Insane.
what
And
do
they're
we have?
still building more. They're
Yeah,
still
I think
building more.
we have a 900 foot high rise. I mean, they just keep growing. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
all for. We have 666 members. We need to get it over 700. I mean, we don't have enough.
I agree. I
Yes.
agree. But I mean, I'm always about more fire trucks and more fire people.
We have actually we added which a lot of departments haven't done yet, and I think it's definitely necessary, especially with all the expansion. We've added a RIC engine to our RIC, instead of just a rapid intervention team, we have a
Hmm.
RIC engine.
Okay.
So we added that, which is great for the safety of our members.
Absolutely.
Which is,
Absolutely.
it's additional.
Hmm.
So we have a Rick engine and a Rick truck shows up now.
All right. That's phenomenal. So now
Yeah.
you have two full crews, which that lines up more with the rapid intervention studies that always show it's going to take one crew
Yep.
an entire cycle, cylinder cycle, to get in and find the patient and start packaging, and it's going to take another crew to go in, get them, and get them out.
Yep. They have
And
the fire
yeah,
line stretched and ready to go already.
yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
You don't have to
It's
start looking for a line.
it's paramount.
Yep.
All right, so we move up. You're now leaving the 2nd Battalion, going up as deputy chief. How has that been?
Back in training.
Back in but see, like, you're passionate. Like, I feel like you're kind of like, oh, back in train, but then that's something you're passionate about.
Well, training is definitely, I think, the most important aspect. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
If you want to succeed in anything, you need to train.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't want to be in any other staff position, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it definitely has been challenging. You know, like all departments, we have very little funding. So trying to, have training without money is definitely hard.
You should remind them that you saved them so much money in insurance by getting the department's ISO rating down. I think it would be very nice of the taxpayer to give the fire department a little bit of that.
No,
I mean,
I do that.
I hint to the politicians.
No, what we have done is we've tapped into resources internally. So I
Okay.
have to say our members have stepped up, and especially under Chief Drennan, when he became chief of the department, he was able to tap into the resources, and he's a special person, another great mentor. And actually, he was the captain of the rescue company on A Group when I was a fireman over at Engine 9. And I got to go to many fires with him, and I got to see he's definitely, like I said, a special person in many ways, not just a great fireman, but people really stepped up for him when he became chief of the department and extended themselves to teach others. So we helped credential people to become instructors so that they can use their experience and knowledge and teach people internally.
Okay.
And because we don't have the money to
Yeah.
go outside, we started teaching inside.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And I mean, that's one of those things that, like we were speaking off air, in my environment where I work, every captain has to be a inspector and an instructor. That way they can sign the training reports. That way they can sign the building inspection forms and do inspections. And the government I work for can go, oh, look, they're properly trained. See, saving
yep.
money already.
Well, not all captains have to be inspectors, but all our captains are now instructors. So that's part of our officer program. So we've implemented an officer program for all captains. One thing we did do was we made sure that all members have all their certifications. Unfortunately, everybody learned with the tragedy in Newark. So we made sure, we did an internal audit to make sure everybody had their certifications, which with the 700 member department is kind of difficult to do. Everybody does get the training when they get hired, firefighter 1, firefighter 2, but not everybody actually has the certifications through the state. Now we make sure that everybody has those certifications, the proper level, incident management levels, 1, 2, 3, whatever is appropriate. A lot of guys hired prior to 2008 never took the official firefighter 2 test from the state because there wasn't one. So we had a challenge exam. We had over 200 members take the challenge exam. And I have to say, less than probably, 2 handfuls have on the job, everybody else has firefighter 2, probably, only a few don't now. So we've definitely, I like to joke and say not only are we credentialed, but we're certifiable. You know,
Yeah, yeah, a few. but but again, like you said, that's a huge accomplishment with a department that size.
well, one thing we did do, and I give a lot of credit to Chief Drennan for this, is we brought in a training system. When it's called Vector Solutions, and
Okay.
we're able to track now everybody's credentials, and we're able to provide training. And not only can we track it, but we could document it, and we could
Okay.
hit a button, and it's we brought ourselves up into the 21st century, and it's kind of
Yeah.
a big deal for us, at least it is.
No, that's phenomenal. I mean, there's a few programs out there that are like that, but the problem I find in several places that I've been familiar with is I don't know there's a problem until I know there's a problem.
Well,
And until you know there's a problem, you're not looking for a solution. And some people just like having the excuse me. And by no fault of their own, sometimes it's we in this business we don't know what we don't know until we know it. And
I
unfortunately, it's
can't
usually
exactly retire tomorrow, so you know what? If something happens, I want to be able to hit that button and pull up the information and
yep.
to hand it over. And unfortunately, when we get to these positions, we need to, what do they say, CYA?
I was just it was coming out of my it was in my head as you were saying it.
You know,
And it's every decision we make, unfortunately, in this day and age, excuse me, whether as a firefighter or in our own personal lives, every decision we make has a lawyer attached to it.
yep, exactly.
And it's a shame, but excuse me. It's a shame, but in the same aspect, from the other side of the coin, as a taxpayer, as the customer of the agency, it's a good thing. The checks and balances are there.
So, I just lost you. Can't hear you.
Sorry,
There you go.
muted my headset. I apologize. The cough. So now moving along, what else is on the radar? If you can talk about anything from the training aspect,
Well, we got a
or
lot of
or
programs.
for the department as a whole.
Right now, we're working, everybody had expired on emergency first responder,
Okay.
emergency responder. So, right now, that's what we're working on. Then we've got shipboard firefighting awareness for everybody coming up. Well, we have a lot of good things. We worked on a couple SOPs. A lot of good things coming up. Personally, I'm hoping unfortunately, Chief Drennan had to retire recently. We saw a new chief of the department come in. Maybe some retirements are coming with that. And hopefully, training might be passed down to somebody new soon. maybe I'll move on. Maybe I'll move on to a line spot soon. We'll
I,
see.
for your benefit, I hope so.
Thank you. I know
Um,
my daughter will appreciate it.
I'm sure. All right. So, what brought you to real estate?
You know what? Um, we just do as firefighters. We constantly do. So,
Yeah.
when you work, you get used to working, I think. And my daughter had started a kindergarten, and it was, I always work. So it's just a hustle. I don't mind working. And
All right. Now, what? I mean, here you go. Here's an advertisement to every firefighter that watches this. What area do you work in?
I'm all over because guess what? Where Jersey City firefighters work? Or where do they live? Everywhere in New Jersey.
The shore.
Monmouth, Ocean,
Monmouth
Hudson County,
Ocean. Yeah.
Garden State, New Jersey. I'm
All
all over
right.
the MLS.
All right. Excellent.
Yes.
Um, I saw in your bio that you sent, yeah, in your list of information, you worked for a short time at Morris County Academy.
Yes.
Okay.
That was a great experience.
Yeah. Do you have any memorable classes?
They're all memorable classes. Some are better than others, and a lot of characters. But I realize now that it's great to meet the guys, and they're always young and enthusiastic. We just actually signed on 24 new guys yesterday, and
Oh, that's great.
yeah, and one thing, and I think we really need to touch on is recently civil service changed our entry level exam, and it's a challenge that it's been very challenging. Because we touched on earlier how I trained for the physical test,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a physical job, and it's something that it's not. And I've said this before, and I've been quoted on it. It's not for every female, and it's not for every male. It's
Oh,
for a
absolutely
certain
not.
type of person. So if civil service is giving a written test now, and that's how they're scoring a person, you're not getting necessarily the right person for the job, because anybody can sit and take a written test.
Mm-hmm.
So we're having a really hard time when we hire people based on a written test. And our classes, it's been a struggle because we hire people based on a written test now.
Now,
And then
have you seen a higher attrition rate?
we hire, and I would say out of every 20 we hire, 4 can't do 24 push-ups. And we fail them based on that. We use the police physical standard now, because how could you hire a guy or a girl who can't do 24 push-ups in the prime of their life? It's
For a job where they're going to be required to pull somebody to
correct.
safety.
Yeah. So I mean, we have to have some sort of physical standard, and we use the police training commission standard.
Okay.
Just because there is no fire standard right now, and hopefully they'll change that or bring back a competitive physical test.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see that before I retire. Civil service bring back a competitive physical test, and what they've told me is it's because females, and I'm a female, so I'm an advocate for bringing it back, and I hope that says something. I don't know. I took a physical test, and I would like to see them bring it back because it's causing us a lot of problems.
Absolutely.
By not.
Yeah, I agree. So now what happens if you are you a city employee, or?
We had to change our whole entire hiring process because of that. So you're not hired as a firefighter, you're hired as a civilian part-time employee or seasonal employee, not even part-time.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
It is very wild. And you have to take.
Well, it works out that you're okay. Your season's up.
You have to take a physical test when you go to the academy.
Now, how about academics? What happens if they're having trouble with a certain topic academically?
Well, obviously there's remediation, and they have several chances, just like the same with the physical. It's not just you get initially and you fail and you're out. It's There's remediation, there's training, and you get several chances with both.
Okay. Like I said, the environment I work in is completely and totally different. There's no academy process. If you don't have your certifications before you apply, you don't even get an interview.
No, it's not like that.
So yeah, like we get hired where I work, you get hired. There's depending on the department, there's like a 1 or 2 week window where you're not in staffing, and then you're in staffing. You're on the street, working to your full capacity. All right, so do you have anything else you want to touch on, or you want to get into the question?
Thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, we're not done.
Oh, come on.
We got the Jersey questions.
Okay,
this is the fun part, the stress-free part.
These should be the easy ones. I'm your typical Jersey girl. I can tell you every parkway number. That's how
Oh, these are hard. The first one's the hardest question.
Go for it.
Is it pork roll or Taylor ham?
Taylor ham.
Apparently, it's a really hard question. All right. Best pizza.
Best pizza. This one's easy. So, like I said, I'm from Jersey City. O'Leary's in Jersey City is now making pizza. They just put in
Really?
pizza ovens, and I've
Mm,
had several slices of pizza. You have to try it out. And it's owned by a Jersey City firefighter, Kevin
mm-hmm.
Hennessy, who was
Yep.
a classmate of mine.
I have had some beverages in that establishment.
Well, you got to go check out his pizza.
I will definitely have to.
Yes.
Um, do you go to the beach or you go down the shore?
I'm down the shore right now. You can't tell?
I, it's the
Look at me.
all right, so you go down the shore.
Yeah, down
Where
here.
where is your beach of preference?
I have a summer place in Brigantine.
Okay.
Yes, I'm
All
all the
right.
way down here.
And not bad.
Yes.
Not bad at all.
My daughter was in
This
a surfing contest yesterday or a couple of days ago.
surfing, geez.
Surfing contest. My neighbor gave her a surfboard, and she
All right.
decided to pick it up 2 weeks ago and enter a surfing contest a couple of days ago.
How'd you do?
Well, my mother goes, "You're gonna let her go surfing?" I go, "What am I tell her? No." And she's like, "Yeah, she's gonna kill herself." And I go, "How could I tell her she can't?" So she did okay. There were 7 kids in the contest. I said, "Well, you'll come out in the top 7." So the mom did
Hey,
okay.
all right, for two. Hey, she picked it up 2 weeks. Good for her. I
I
give
wouldn't
it
have been
there.
up there at all, so I give her credit.
All right, next question. Does Central Jersey really exist?
I don't even know what Central Jersey is, so I'm going to say no. What is Central Jersey?
It's the area in the center of the state.
No, I live in North Jersey, and right now I'm in South Jersey. So
Okay, and in the middle, there's a bunch of people that are totally not North Jersey people and totally not South Jersey people.
Central Jersey doesn't exist.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree. Who were some of your mentors or were?
So many. I mean, like I mentioned, a few of them already. But just really, I mean, I'm surrounded by good people my, entire life, from firefighters to my parents to school teachers. Just so many people, really.
All right.
There's too many to name.
All
I
right.
don't want to forget anybody. And
All right. What are some of your proudest achievements or accomplishments on the job?
well, I still have a long career ahead of me, so we've accomplished some more things. But like I said, I was happy to become the 2nd Battalion Chief on Group A.
Okay.
So far, I think that was probably the best thing I've accomplished.
Okay. What advice do you have for the fire service?
Keep training as if your life depended on it, because it may very well.
All right. That's it? Don't have any more?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Do you have any shout outs? Anything you want to put out there for, the internet people?
Thank you for listening to me. I'm sure this has been very boring for all. And
oh no, come on. We got 10 likes.
Enjoy your weekend.
Everybody's loving it.
Everybody go have a drink.
All right. So I'll bump you into the backstage area. We'll say our goodbyes off air.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That wraps up run number 27 with Chief Constance Zappella of the Jersey City Fire Department. Check us out next week. Excuse me. Cough is killing me. For run number 28. Have a good week and stay safe, everybody.